And welcome into the Friday edition. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. Hope everybody's off to a wonderful start on their Friday. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, good morning. Happy Friday to you. What is going on?
Good morning. Good morning, guys. Well, I thought I'd be coming in and gloating and saying I told you so about the Detroit Lions not making the playoffs. I will, but you got delayed a little bit because the Cowboys, I don't know, seems like maybe they need some edge rushing. I don't know, based on they also need some corners, but definitely some edge rushing, it seems, is missing. I don't know what happened there with the Cowboys, but also, I switched fantasy quarterbacks because I know people want to hear about my fantasy team. And, Dak did okay, but, oh, man. I mean, one touchdown pass against the freaking Lions,
You expected more.
Yeah, I expected more, yeah, and should have gotten more. But
expected more.
But, they have a field goal kicker who can just – I mean, they really need to try like a 75-yarder, and I swear the guy will hit one.
Maybe so. Ian Safar, how we doing? What's going on?
Good morning. Yeah. Fun game last night in football and a little fun from the Preds, huh? Showing some fight.
I saw that. Yeah. That's 4-5 for the Nashville Predators.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday. We will get into the Predators here in just a few minutes, but that is 4-5 for the old Nashville Predators. So don't look now. They're winning some hockey games at the moment. Joe Rexrode, you mentioned the Lions last night. I mean, first off, the playoff picture in the NFC, very interesting. There doesn't really look to be a team running away with it right now. Now, I know Bears fans are going to get all mad. We'll find out this weekend. See how that goes. We're officially on Bears watch. But, the Rams lost last week, Carolina, Philadelphia, depending on who you talk to, is in total free fall mode. Who knows? We'll see what happens on that front. So the Lions are just a, game back right now. The San Francisco 49ers for that last spot. We'll see what that ends up looking like. But big win for the Detroit Lions last night. I'll be honest with you, Joe, I had not been paying attention to it all week in terms of like the availability for both. I just assumed Amon-Ra St. Brown wasn't going to play. And then all of a sudden on the first drive of the game, I look up and he's just streaking down the field for the Lions. So turns out that guy makes a pretty big difference.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that in my fantasy team too, because I sat him. So yeah, I mean he had like 94 yards, no touchdown, so it wasn't like devastating, but yeah, he makes a big difference. He's a great player. I mean, they're they're very banged up, like so many teams are. They do seem to be like the new Titans. They're the Titans of the 2021 and 2022, leading the league and injured players and practice squad players and all that stuff. But yeah, the NFC is interesting. I don't buy the Bears. I don't care who wants to argue. I mean, I buy them as a much better team. They're going to be in the playoffs, but I don't buy them as like any kind of contender. I buy the Packers. I buy the Eagles and the Rams, but then, like you said, the Eagles are just a total mess. I mean, I don't know. They seem like it sometimes, and it's like every week you just don't know what you're going to get.
Is there any point in having an MVP conversation right now that does not involve just like two people? Like, should we even expand the conversation for most valuable player beyond Drake May and Matt Stafford, who, by the way, when you look at the odds right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook, it's Drake May at plus 100, Matt Stafford at plus 105, and the next highest odds for MVP right now on FanDuel Sportsbook is Jordan Love at plus 1,400. It's a enormous gap from 2 to 3 there.
Wow. I mean, it makes sense, but also I think I would almost, I feel like maybe Stafford, it should be Stafford than a gap,
Drake May has been pretty darn good, man.
No question. He has been. But still, I don't know that can anybody else get in there, Probably not at this point. It's kind of weird.
We're getting late, right? Like we're late.
We got a month left.
Yeah. So, I mean, that just feels like, look, I understand things can happen. Like Josh Allen is 4th at plus 3,000. And I guess if he just goes nuts the rest of the way, that maybe he gets in there. But it just kind of feels like a 2-horse race right now for MVP. I mean, I bring it up because last night, on the broadcast before the game, they're talking about Prescott and the season that he's had, and obviously the Micah trade and everything, and could he sneak into the MVP race? And I mean, look, they're 6-1.
Not now.
He's probably not getting in the MVP race. It feels like it's a 2-horse race between May and Stafford.
Yeah, that might have been. And actually, I think I mentioned this yesterday with PK. Is like he is a sneaky, interesting guy. If the numbers keep up, and basically had they won the division, which they was still on the table if they won last night. So because I mean their schedule the rest of the way, I think it's pretty soft. So maybe he could have gotten in there if they come out of nowhere, win the division. He carries a team that clearly isn't very good defensively. I mean, great receivers, but yeah, I think that's dead now. So, I mean, I don't know if your guy wins out, beats the Bears twice. The Packers get the number 1 seed. He puts up insane numbers. A little bit of faltering from the other guys. Maybe it gets interesting.
Could be. I mean,
not much time though, like you said.
Not a whole lot of time left on that front. So we'll see what happens. But really, in the NFC and then in the AFC too, like it's a pretty interesting playoff race right now. By the way, there's a huge game coming up this weekend in the AFC South. And, I know PK was talking about this the other day with us. You got the Titans at the bottom kind of looking around and just waving at everybody else in the division at the moment. The Colts have stumbled a little bit as of late. But you do have the Jags and the Colts coming up, and that's a massive game in the AFC South when it comes to the playoff picture, when it comes to the division, any way you want to take it. It's a pretty large game. By the way, the Texans play the Chiefs this weekend on Sunday Night Football. So, while you're watching the Titans trying to avoid getting their quarterback killed by Myles Garrett over the weekend, you'll have the Colts and the Jags going on at the same time. And then that night, the Texans at 7-5 on the road taking on Kansas City.
Yeah, it's good to see the AFC South be relevant. I mean, 75% of it, I guess. That's the right math, right? Yeah.
That is.
Three of the 4 is relevant. So good year for the AFC South, mostly. Although the overall record, if the Titans just could have done a little bit, give them
it's being drugged down
help.
dramatically.
Yeah, yes, it is. Poor AFC South, but yeah, I mean, the Colts, like obviously Daniel Jones, he's got the leg injury, so how much is that affecting him? Is he? Everybody keeps waiting for him to come back to earth a little bit, which he has a little bit, but I mean, they were in really good shape. I mean, we were talking 1 seed not long ago, and now you look at the way those other 2 are playing, and I mean, it's a very, very interesting month in the AFC South. For 3/4 of the AFC South.
I mean, this could swing all the way back around to Houston after Indy. I mean, look, somebody from Indy and Jacksonville is about to get to 9-4. I mean, I guess unless they tie the game, so somebody's getting to 9-4. Somebody will be 8-5. If Houston wins on the road against Kansas City, they're at 8-5 at that point after starting 0-3 or whatever they were to start the year. So, I mean, look, we know Houston, they've got a very, very good defense, and that's going to keep them in the game. But I mean, this could end up cycling all the way back around. I mean, think back to late September, Joe, of the horrible Texans taking on the horrible Titans, and then they shut out the Titans, and then they've just kind of been ascending ever since then. I mean, I think you got to put my guy Davis Mills in the MVP conversation, and they come back and win the division. He really kept them afloat this year.
Well,
kept their head above water.
There you go. There we go. Hey, man, I mean, you got to give the guy credit. You got to give the guy a lot of credit for how he played. I mean, is he a top 5 backup? Is he a top 3 backup? I mean, he's
top 1
there. Yeah. And then of course we get so the finale then is going to be okay. So the finale is Texans hosting the Colts.
Okay.
So which of course could be flex. By the way, you saw the flex news on your Bears Packers, right?
I did. Yes.
They got rid of an Eagles Commanders game, and we get Bears Packers with the second meeting, obviously, right?
No respect. Yes. No respect
Yeah.
to Marcus. You can put Marcus and Traylon Burks on primetime football as much as you possibly can.
Is Jaden Daniels out for the year?
I have no idea what's going on with him.
That, right? Yeah.
I mean, he might as well be at this point.
I think he practiced in full yesterday.
That's good.
Okay.
Well, look, I'm just glad his left arm's still attached to his body after that injury.
Yeah, exactly. Then, in the finale also, of course, we get all the division rivalries. You get the Titans going down to the Milky Pool, and then they could be playing spoiler,
What a way to end the season.
Day. Yeah. That'll be flexed to 7 a.m.
This game starts at 5:40 in the morning, so just be ready for that. We got a lot to get to on the program today. We will get into the college football championship game weekend coming up this weekend. We will get into Pigskin Pick'em a little bit later in the show, which has become a fierce competition. Teron Davenport from ESPN will join us at 8 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on all things Titans. All that ahead here on the program. Coming up next, Preds have won 4 of 5, including a win on the road last night against the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions. What's going on? How are they winning all these games? And what does Barry Trotz and company do from here? We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Here come the Preds. Yossi ahead. He has O'Reilly. He drops it. O'Reilly to Stamkos. Hey, scores! The awarded goal gods bless the Predators with an overtime win, with both sides of the net off its moorings. Preds win 2-1 in Florida.
We felt there's points to be had tonight. We felt we were in the game. I really liked our start. Obviously, we got in trouble. The second period was kind of back and forth of being in the box way too much. And I thought our third was really good. I thought, I almost had a chance to put it away with about 5. And got to clean up our last 2 minutes. But I think for us, it was a real gutsy road win. The mindset stayed with us the whole game, and we're getting a little bit better at it. And this could maybe be a game that kind of kickstarts us.
Preds win last night, 2-1 in overtime against the Florida Panthers, which means, Joe, they've won 4 of their last 5. So the Predators win some games right now.
Didn't I predict this?
You said 5 in a row. We'll see. I think you should deserve enough credit for that. That's fine. I'll give it to you. They have moved from dead last in the NHL. They are now, I believe, 30th in the NHL. But, their team's jumbled up all around them. They play St. Louis like 3 times this month, and they're only 1 point behind them. Buffalo's 2 points ahead of them. The Florida Panthers, who are 2-time defending Cup champions, are second to last place in the Eastern Conference right now. Now, the Eastern Conference is very jumbled up, and as we know, Florida's got about 1 billion guys that are hurt, and they're going to get some of them back later this month. So we'll see what that'll looks like. But regardless, nice win for the Predators last night. As Willie pointed out on the TV broadcast last night, Joe, they've won 4 or 5, and in the games they've won, Steven Stamkos has scored in every one of them. So he's starting to heat up on the offensive side of things as well. So I ask you, Barry Trotz calls his team out through the Tennesseans, says he needs more from them. Later on that night, they get beat 8-3 by the Florida Panthers at home, and it's like, well, that didn't work. But I will say they've won 4 out of 5 in the aftermath of all that. So what do you make of the Predators and the winning that's been going on around here?
I need more farting from the players, and boom, it's just like taking away U2 from them 2 years ago. They're doing more of something. So, like you said, Stamkos, you'd hope that there's, a hot streak in there for him, right? And that's probably like as miserable as it's been to kind of, just see him and even like hear him talk about things sometimes, right?
Yeah.
It's good to like see that guy have some success. So good for them. I do think that and Barry Trotz, speaking of Barry Trotz talking about more farting from the players, and he just comes on our air and just starts throwing expletives around, talking about Frank Saravalli, man. My goodness. Obviously he is mad about that. I don't know. Is that whole thing like some sort of? Again, like it's weird because I guess to me it's like I said at the time, I was like, does that mean like more like if it's not toxic between them, like they're just mad at Barry or something? I have no idea what Saravalli means, but obviously he was mad about that. Were they mad about that? Is that something that ticked them off too?
I don't know. Maybe. I guess there's that chance. Last night, legitimately, I watched most of the second and third periods last night. And in the second period, they took, I think, 4 penalties. It felt like they were just including a double minor in there, by the way. So I think they were just constantly on the penalty kill. And it legitimately, like there were a couple of chances that Florida had. It could have legitimately have been 5 or 6-0 after 2 periods. And either the puck bounced off, Preds, I think a couple of times on the goal mouth, like got away with pretty good holding penalty against the Panthers, but they had already been called for so many penalties that I think the refs were afraid of calling another one. So that worked out in their advantage at that point. And then UC Saros made some huge saves. Like he played really well last night. So that's good to see, right? Like he's been struggling as of late. So it was good to see him play well. In a lot of ways, it was kind of a goalie duel last night. Like Forsberg tried the lacrosse move behind the net, and Bobrovsky saw him pick up the puck from behind him and immediately put up his glove to guard against that top corner of the post. I don't know if I've ever seen a goalie do that before. Like, it was cool. It was a cool save. But I say all that to say is, like, Saros kind of saved their bacon in the second period last night, and then they got their game going as the third went on. So they've kind of won them in different ways. Like, they just totally destroyed the Flames the other night, who are not good. But they've won these games in different ways. Now, what does it mean long term? I don't think a whole lot. Like, and I know some Predators fans on the text line, on the YouTube chat, are already freaking out a little bit. Like, don't let this ruin the plan. Don't let this ruin the plan. I don't think it's going to. Like, I still think there's probably some more reality coming. And if you look at their schedule, by the way, they're on the road at Carolina this weekend. They've got Colorado twice in the next week. Like, there's probably some reality coming for them here in the next few games. But frankly, like, it's been a nice change of pace just to watch them win for a little bit here, because boy, was it getting depressing watching them lose all the time and the Titans lose all the time. So good for them for winning some games. I don't think it's going to change the long-term outlook here.
Yeah, good for them for playing hard and caring and sticking with it. You're going to have, I don't care how good you are, I don't care how bad you are in an 82-game season, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have stretches that are different from other stretches. It's like, just you think about what it's probably been for them for most of the year. And I understand, like, it wasn't that long ago that Yossi's talking to Greg Wyshynski about, hopefully Barry's buying at the deadline. Obviously they want to change things. They don't want that to be the plan. The plan, that's still more, that really is the plan as we see it more than anything, right? I mean, Barry hasn't exactly laid out what he's going to do, but we think that, there's going to be certainly at least some expiring contracts moving out of here. But I mean, just for them to have a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever it is, of like feeling good about themselves, that's not so bad, is it?
No. And again, like I said, in the last week, they've moved from last place in the NHL up a couple of spots, and they're only, a point or two behind some other teams. They're also only 1 point up on the last place team in the NHL, right?
They're still closer to that side.
They're still very close to being the last place team in the NHL. So I guess what I'm saying is, this is nice to see. It really is. Like, it's legitimately nice to see them win some games here. If you're a Predators fan out there that's worried that they're going to get, I guess, some false confidence that they're actually a contender now and hold off on their plans moving forward, they're going to have to do a whole lot more winning over the next couple of months here for that to become reality in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a little sugar rush, but again, it's good. Good for them. Trevor says, of course the Preds start winning when I check out and haven't watched them in 2 weeks. Yeah. Well, maybe you've been the problem. Maybe you've been the problem, Trevor.
Could be.
But let's keep staying away, Trevor, and we'll see if they keep winning. If they keep winning with what's coming up for them, then we actually may be onto something here.
Well, like I said, they've got Colorado twice in the next week. It's a kind of a weird schedule here. They go at Carolina, and then they've got Colorado and St. Louis at home, and then Colorado and St. Louis on the road, and then home against Carolina. So they play the same three teams in the next 6 games, just one at home and one on the road for all of them. It's very weird.
Why does it seem like stuff like that is happening more? I guess just the overall condensation of the schedule makes more weird stuff. Is that what it is?
It's got to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's almost like it's like the COVID year where you just played the same 4 teams the whole year.
Yeah. You're going to get really familiar with Colorado, St. Louis, and Carolina over the next little bit here if you're a Predators fan. Hey, good news on the Colorado front. They finally lost their second game of the year in regulation last night. So it took them 27 games, but they've done it, Joe. They now lost 2 games in regulation.
God, that's crazy. Are they going to win it again? People kind of thought, well, they had their cup.
Well, here's the thing. They're 19-2-6. They've got 44 points, off to just a ridiculous start to the year. And they've only got a 3-point lead in their division. Dallas, 18-5-5, right there with them, 3 points back. How wild is that?
Yeah. Well, that's That's going to be, that could potentially be a heck of a race and maybe a playoff series between those two down the line.
We'll see what happens. Some very creative thinking by the Vanderbilt Commodores to try to make something additional happen for the college football playoff committee this weekend. We'll get into that coming up next. Take your thoughts, 615-737-1025. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. This holiday season, 1025 The Game, looking out for the kiddos. Want to donate a bunch of stuffed toys to the Nashville Children's Alliance to be given to kids this holiday season, but we cannot do it without you. So join us at a Dunkin' location near your neighborhood the week of December the 8th through the 12th to drop off a stuffed toy that a child will love. You can find the Dunkin' locations that are participating at thegamenashville.com/toy. Also, shout out to the Metro Nashville Police Department, the Catalano Group, the Bluemont Group, Family Leisure, Thompson Machinery, Richmar Florist, Right Time HVAC, and Ready Lane for all of their help in this as well. Taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Vanderbilt, Joe, trying a creative way to get more attention from the College Football Playoff Committee, which apparently included trying to find another game to play this weekend. Now, they've talked about this logistically. This is not going to be possible, so it's not going to happen. But Joe, it looks like earlier this week, some legitimate kind of, I guess, effort put in there by Vanderbilt to see whether or not it would be possible to get somebody else on the schedule this weekend while conference championship weekend is going on, so that there would be, I guess, another data point for the college football playoff committee to consider at that point. It's not happening, but what do you make of, I guess, that effort by Candace Lee and the Vanderbilt athletic program?
Yeah, I give him an A for effort. Hey, I mean, Clark Lee said at his presser the other day, and it was like, yeah, okay, you know, like coaches say that sometimes. Hey, we'll play anyone, anywhere, you know, let's go. But he has said multiple times since the Tennessee win, I've told my team to keep their bags packed, and it's like, are they? Like, are the bags actually packed? But yes, Candace Lee, and I did talk to both of them yesterday. Candace Lee, the athletic director, did look into the possibility. Now, they said that they didn't get to the point of reaching out to an opponent. They were just looking into logistically, is it possible? That was difficult. And then, you know, of course, is it possible in terms of the rules? Now, technically, you can play a 13th game, in like Alaska or Hawaii. Like Jason Goodlet's felt like, why not just fly to Notre Dame, down to Miami? I know the rule says Alaska or Hawaii, but what enforcement punch does the NCAA have anymore? Well, you can say, I mean, I don't think the NCAA would have like put them in like given them probation for doing it, but the data point wouldn't have counted. You know, so I mean, like it's not going to help them. Like the committee's not going to take that into account. It would have been amazing to see someone actually try to do this. But yeah, it is against the rules. It was logistically difficult. They didn't get to the point of an opponent. But like, if you could do that, I mean, to me, I had a kind of an argument with Ralph Russo, who was like, well, why would Miami want to do that? You're like, Miami's ahead of them. I'm like, well, I would still argue that if you're Miami right now, you're also still out.
Right.
We don't know what's going to happen this weekend, but if you got to win over a team in that range, you know, in that same bubble range, would that not give you a huge bump? Maybe not huge, but enough of a bump. I could argue Notre Dame, Miami, certainly Utah, which is actually behind Vanderbilt. I could argue any of them would be wise to play the game. Texas too, you know. I know Texas, you know, they're over there talking about taking their ball and going home. But and then Joel, then of course you have also Pavia's asking for President Trump to sign an executive order for 16 teams. Also something that you can't just do. I mean, you know,
I admire the effort.
If he were the emperor of the United States, maybe this would be possible. But hey, I admire the effort too, man. Give it a shot. Take a shot at it. It does bring up again this weekend, you know, the idea of, is there something different other than these championship games that a lot of these teams just don't even want to play that you could do?
Let me say a couple things on this. Number one, as I said, I admire the effort from Vanderbilt to try to get something like this done. If I were in their shoes, I would do anything possible to try to get my team in the college football playoff. So I don't blame Vanderbilt for this at all. That's fine. Like, do what you got to do. As a college football fan, Joe, I'm very happy that this did not work. Like, we can't just be getting to the end of the year and being like, well, our resume is not good enough, so let's just add something to it that nobody else is doing. Like, it's not on the schedule anywhere else. Nobody else is playing this 13th game, but let's just make one up here. So I, as a college football fan, am very glad that this did not work, but I don't blame Vanderbilt for trying it.
Yeah, a little pickup football, man. You know, it's like, hey, let's just like, you know, get your buddies, go out to the hard top and play a game. A little pickup football. Yeah, again, like when Clark initially, when he like said his presser, you know, I was like, yeah, that's great. You know, of course, sure, yeah, we'll play anybody. But yeah, hey, I do give him credit for checking it out, man. Anything you can try to do, because obviously, I mean, technically, who was it? Was it Connor Newt this week? He's like, he was like, well, you know, I think he was with Vingan. He was like, well, I mean, Vanderbilt, I mean, you know, they have a slim chance. They don't have too much of a chance, but they got a slim chance Sunday of being in the playoff. And I'm like, no, don't leave. No, do not give people hope. They have a 0.00% chance, and they know this, of being in the playoff. Like, there's weird stuff that can happen this week that can, which is weird because the whole thing is weird, but the whole Notre Dame Miami thing with BYU and Texas Tech, that could change things in some stupid way, because now your teams have to be right next to each other to compare them somehow. Teams have to be right next to each other for a head-to-head win to matter.
This is so dumb.
I don't. But obviously Notre Dame fans are freaking out about that possibility. But yeah, the Vanderbilt, the Utah, and Texas. I mean, those three teams, they have no reason to watch the show on Sunday.
I do want to ask you about a quote, and you mentioned you talked to Clark Lee and Candace Lee yesterday. I want to ask you about this quote from Clark Lee that he told you, which was, I wake up and Utah's below us, Texas is above us, and I wonder what in the world's going on. So if we're going to have someone come from over the top and say, this is what we're going to do, at least there's clarity in that. And if I can understand it, I can accept it. But when I don't understand it, I'm really skeptical of what's going on. And this team deserves to be in the playoff, deserves to compete for a national championship, all those things. Now, look, I understand that Clark Lee is a coach that is trying like mad to get his team in a college football playoff. And when you're the team that's scorned, the first thing that people start doing when they're scorned is start complaining about the process. So I fully understand that in the backdrop of it. But, I mean, he's made multiple comments this week just about how flabbergasted he is by this process, and specifically some of the explanations that come out of that room, which we've talked a lot about here. So what have you made of kind of Clark Lee's attack, for lack of a better word, on the committee and what they've done?
Yeah. Well, first of all, just to be fair, that quote was from his presser. So the big quote there was, he said that to the group. But yeah, look, and this happens every year. There are teams, and it's always going to happen, and then coaches will sound off, and that's fine. I mean, it was pretty funny because I think it was Joey Dwyer asked him, so what's your fix? And he's like, let me just complain right now. Okay, can I just complain? And but I think what you hear, especially these coaches who get left out, but like we heard it all summer too. I mean, the SEC spring meetings, ADs and coaches got to take it out of the committee. Got to get it out of the committee's hand. Okay. Well, the Big Ten has a plan where it's just your standings and it's auto bid. So that's what you want. And then they thought about it. And the coaches, credit to the coaches, Clark Lee and all his coaches were like, oh yeah, that's stupid. Because one, like again, this year we would have a forced fourth Big Ten team. They don't deserve 4. They got 3. This is a great example of why you do not want that. And look, I understand take out the committee. In fact, you're getting into something that I something I'm working on right now, which is like it or not, you can't. Like it or not, you have to have a committee. Things have to change. I think this year we've come to, Hunter Yurachek has helped us realize, like, dude, we can't keep doing this. Like, here's the list, and now let me just make up whatever comes to mind to justify it and infuriate. Because if you're Vanderbilt, how could you not be furious? So you beat the crap out of Tennessee, which hurts you. That's really what happened.
Yeah.
So should have won by 7. It should have been a tough rivalry game. And then, then they'd still be ranked and it would count for you. It's ridiculous. So they have to change some things about it. But that's the thing. Coaches want it taken out of I heard Manny Diaz. He was on with Ari and Staples on their podcast and on 3. And he, again, like, we got to take it out of their hands. We got to settle it on the field. Okay, but because Duke is about to, if they win the ACC championship, still not get the playoff, apparently. Yeah. Which, again, I have no. They're 7-5. Like,
yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah, but the whole thing shows you why you can't settle it on the field, because you're going to go by standings in 37 team leagues where one team plays an incredibly difficult schedule and one team plays a joke of a schedule in the same league. You cannot do it. You've screwed this up by making these leagues so huge, by killing the Pac-12. All of it. This was designed to have a Pac-12 as part of it, right? Like that, when this was a device, the Pac-12 existed, and so you're going to keep coming back to the committee. Now, people are talking about John Gruden's plan here, Robbie. I did not see this.
I've not seen it.
Why has John Gruden not been hired? By the way, who's hiring John Gruden? Penn State.
Penn State probably should at this point.
They might get Matt Campbell. Now that'd be pretty good after all this crap. But no, if anybody knows, they can explain to me John Gruden's solution. I'm all ears, But I'm telling you, like, you're going to have a committee. I say you put it on like freaking C-SPAN. Does people watch C-SPAN? You watch point of order. You know, sitting there all day passing bills. Put it on the channel. Put it on
Fine with me.
ESPN. Who watches ESPN News? Put this crap on ESPN News. Let them all their conversations, and then we don't have to listen to some inane one sentence description. We can hear everything. There's one way you fix it.
This season is a perfect example of why we're going to end up doing these play-in games that just drive me nuts. It's going to happen at some point.
Well, I'll tell you this: if you do that, you still that's a key point too for me. It's not by league, okay? So in other words, that's what Tony Petiti wants. All right, we'll get Iowa and Minnesota in a big game, and then one of them will be it. No, screw you and your stupid league, okay? No, it'll still be committee based, and it'll be like this year. It's like, okay, Vanderbilt, you play Miami, right?
That would be better than the other idea. Yes.
Yes, we cannot do it. League standings don't mean crap, and they never will anymore. So get that out of your mind. I'm with you. Look, I kind of hate it too, but the bottom line is, I mean, if you're going to have this week, or I mean, look, your buddy Drinkwitz, you know, I mean, I know it's basically the same idea, right? Which is like, that's basically what I'm talking about, which is like, I mean, really, that's just the start of the playoff, right? I mean, it's just, So this week becomes the first round, and it's whatever you want to call it. I guess it's like the first four in basketball with some, you know, except it's a much smaller field. I mean, I think you're right. I think something like that may be on the horizon.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. It is conference championship weekend in college football. What do we make of the matchups, and how could it affect the college football playoff field? We will get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. DVD with Willie Donick, Derek Mason, and Adam Vingan will be broadcasting live at the all-new Circa Sportsbook Kentucky in the Mint Gaming Hall this Monday prior to the Monday Night Football game. Monday night's matchup is the Eagles taking on the Chargers. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, here on 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on the college football playoff and the college football playoff committee. Let's head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunting.com. Welcome in Nate to the program. Nate, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
What's up, guys? And I've thought about this for a while. Who do y'all think really should be on the college football playoff committee? I love Chris Massaro. You know, he's a great guy, went to MTSU. But do we really need group of 5 ADs on the committee? I just don't know that that's one of the best choices.
That's a great point you bring up, and that's another part of my plan move. No ADs. Administrators are out. I mean, Vanderbilt's been talking about
active
it.
Ones.
Well, yeah. But to me, the administrator piece of this is just like they have their jobs, they do their jobs. This should not be one of their jobs in any way. And Vanderbilt immediately, and other teams immediately, Miami, Notre Dame, they all know. Oh, the Utah AD's on there, and how about that? Utah is higher than they should be, and teams they beat all of a sudden are in the top 25.
Yep.
Whether that's why or not, it's a bad look. Just like we got to hear Bubba Cunningham tell us last in March. Hey, well, North Carolina, they deserve to be in. I swear. And of course, they win their first 4 game by 1 million. But no, this is what it should be. It's I'm cool with the former coaches thing because look, I do want these people. I mean, like if they're gonna spend all this time, I'm like, it's funny to make fun of sometimes. Like this team, like they got a really good box safety. I like that. I mean, it's funny, but I actually do want people who like deeply know football. I think that's okay. If there's gonna be subjectivity, let's have subjectivity with people who know football really well.
Yeah.
So it should be half that. And they've got some former coaches on there now. And it should be half media. I mean, the only person on this committee that I'm confident has not been a total doofus about all this is Ivan Maisel, because I know he's smart. Like, I know that this is – some people are like, media. But, I mean, we did determine the national champion with a freaking AP poll for 100 years, right? I mean, it should be like retired media, or even, I guess – Yeah, I think it's got to be retired.
Just say what you really mean, that you want yourself on the college football playoff committee. Let's not dance around it anymore. You want yourself on there.
I actually want to be the one making the explanations every week, so that I can
I
show
do
you how
too.
it's done. Yeah. But
I would
seriously,
love to see that.
yeah, media and coaches, and get the administrators out because you got conflicts of interest. And frankly, like I'm sorry, but like obviously a ton of administrators, you're hiring football coaches, like you're in charge of an athletics department, that stuff. But I still think that like that there's a lot that goes into that's not just like football. If you're a media person whose whole job is to like cover football, I promise you know a thing or two about football. And then, we can especially just dispense with the conflict of interest stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with like even if I think the majority of these athletic directors at least try to do a good job and do the right thing.
Sure.
But to your point, like it's not a great look when some of these athletic directors are on committees and their teams are directly involved in the discussion. I'm sorry. Like it's just not. Even if they have the purest of intentions, it just doesn't set things up very well.
I mean, if you want to get conspiratorial here, does Massaro – yeah, I mean, I've heard Middle Tennessee people talk before about Vanderbilt, annoyed by Vanderbilt. Like we
Derek
got
Mason calling him in the background, like, "Hey, you make sure you don't let Vanderbilt in."
Yeah. I mean, I've said it before. Like he's Massaro's new this year. Mark D'Antonio, who I covered forever, he's new this year, dude. Michigan better not be a bubble team while he's on the committee, okay? He's going to vote them 300th in the country, I mean, it's just like everybody has biases. So, like, you're just never going to completely erase that. But, again, active administrators in particular. But if you're not going to do active, then to me, just get retired coaches, retired or like me, semi-retired media people, and
Yeah.
and let's go, man. Let's go. We'll put together some hellacious fields.
I need to look on that committee and see if there's anybody in there that could just absolutely hate Tennessee, which explains why Tennessee, after losing to Vanderbilt, I guess became like the 95th ranked team in America.
Well,
Tennessee lost to Vanderbilt, relegate them.
Well, let's keep blaming Massaro. I mean, they get annoyed too by like their own students and fans like wanting to watch the Tennessee game instead of going to the Middle Tennessee game. So this is all about Chris Massaro. We need to get him on the phone and see what he's done here. I'm sure he's busy, by the way, because they got a big day Sunday.
Joe, it is conference championship weekend. You've got Georgia and Alabama in the SEC title game. The big one, Indiana, Ohio State in a 1-2 matchup. But, conference championship weekend, it's a very contentious point right now. We've already gotten some texts that say, hey, do whatever you got to do to get rid of conference championship weekend in college football. So I guess, number one, where do you stand on that, on conference championship weekend? And number two, what should we be rooting for the college football playoff field this week?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's really interesting because I agree in general. Now, Indiana, Ohio State, look, I am excited for that game. And this is, these conferences, they've screwed things up so badly. Again, where if you do get rid of the conference championships, and I mean, you're going to have years where there's like a 5-way tie. I guess everyone can just get a trophy, get a banner, whatever. I will say that for Indiana, you're talking about trying to get your first conference championship in a half century and also beat Ohio State for the first time in almost 40 years. I would say this is probably a big freaking deal to Indiana, in this game in their home state, so sometimes you'll get something like, I don't know. You tell me if you're a Georgia fan, Kirby has done everything you want a coach to do, but for whatever reason, he can't beat Alabama. Is just that alone, does that give you more juice for this game? Or are you like, I just don't want my team to have 4 or 5 key injuries before the playoff? You tell me. But in the meantime, yeah, they're going to – I think something's going to change and something's going to have to change. But the problem is, again, the SEC in particular and the Big Ten, they're huge moneymakers. So it's just a question of, okay, so if you change it to, whatever. Again, my idea of not having it be devoted to the conference, but being basically more like a play-in weekend at large. I mean, how do you split that money up, right? I mean, that's the thing. But also, if you have those extra games, is that not revenue that these leagues can have? Can we not figure that out? Seems like you could. But this week, first of all, on the Heisman front, you're rooting for Ohio State to beat Indiana without Julian Sain doing unbelievable things. You want like a defensive game where Ohio State dominates Indiana if you're rooting for Pavi to win the Heisman. I mean, do you want to see BYU in the playoff? Because if BYU beats Texas Tech, then I believe Notre Dame and Miami are both out, and the committee gets to they just get to go scot-free on having to deal with the Notre Dame-Miami thing. No,
I do not want to see that at all. No.
I don't think I do either. I mean, look, I want to see Vanderbilt in the playoffs. Not going to happen. I wouldn't mind Texas in the playoff. That's not going to happen. Vanderbilt should be Vanderbilt eyeball test should be in the playoff. But Notre Dame, Miami, I mean, yeah, I would rather that be on the table. I mean, I think Notre Dame, the way they're playing, I know that their resume isn't great, but I think they're good enough to do damage. I do. And Miami could be. So if BYU moves, basically, loses that game and they get bumped down, because even though it's a conference championship game, I think that would happen. Then you're going to have the Notre Dame Miami comparison, I guess. In theory, they're going to be next to each other. So who should be in, Notre Dame or Miami?
I mean, they did play, right?
Yeah.
I know it was a long time ago. And I know that Miami's had some bad losses since then. But if they're that close to each other and they've played on the field, you're going to have a hard time convincing me that Miami shouldn't be in over Notre Dame.
I agree. I think Notre Dame's better. But the bottom line is, if that data point doesn't kick in when, overall it's close enough, right? I mean, Louisville at home, it's not a great loss. At SMU, it's not a great loss. They're both 8-4 teams.
Right.
It's
not Texas losing to Florida.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm with you. I mean, to me, the head-to-head has to kick in, and so Miami should be in. I mean, if not, my guy Bruce Feldman. I mean, my goodness,
He's going to lose it.
He is on. He's on one right now. So that's obviously the fascinating situation is BYU losing as people expect, and then putting that into play on Sunday. And of course, ESPN loves that drama.
Yes, they do. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We will get back into a conversation that the guys had with Charles Robinson yesterday on the program. That's coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. We'll have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode later this hour. Teron Davenport will be with us at 8 o'clock. We'll look ahead to the Titans and the Cleveland Browns with him. So that's going up a little bit later in the show. Taking your thoughts in the meantime at 615-737-1025. Let's head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in David to the program. David, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning. I actually did watch the John Gruden playoff scenario, and I liked it. He was pretty much saying that he don't understand why they're having the conference championships, but if they're due, that's fine. He said, but why are the other teams like Ole Miss and Oklahoma, these other people sitting at home getting a bye? He said that would be like the Rams and the Bears having the two best records playing each other, and all the other people in the playoffs getting a bye, getting the rest of their players. He said, have the conference championship, the top 6 teams, whether you win or lose, you get in. He said, but then people like Ole Miss and these other teams that's not playing, like Ole Miss would play Tulane, and then whoever's next would play like SMU or whatever. And he said, and the winner goes home. They're out of the playoffs. He said the people are talking about who gets in, Miami or Notre Dame. He said you have them play each other, the winner's out. I mean, the winner's in. He also said I'd have Texas A&M playing Vanderbilt, and the winner's in. And he said as far as Virginia Duke, he said Virginia wins, so they're in. He said if Duke wins, then the team that's got the highest ranking that's not in, they get to get in instead of Duke.
Yeah, it's interesting, David. I appreciate the call. Like, just in hearing that, Joe, it's like, why would Texas A&M want to do something like that? Right?
That's the one that jumps out. They're like, wait a minute, why do we have to play a game? We're in.
Yeah, like I mean, well, just in general, like, look, I understand the idea of the conference championship game. Now, technically, if you win it, like, if Georgia wins this weekend, well, then they're going to get a bye coming up, right? So you're not really playing an extra game at that point. But, like, what if you're one of these teams that loses the conference championship game that you're still in, but then you got to go play the conference championship game, you lose the conference championship game, and then you're playing again on the first week of the playoff. Like, that's when it becomes a real pain in the butt. I mean, you've got the opportunity to win the conference championship game. And I know they don't just seed it straight up that way anymore, but at least like if you're a team like Georgia and you win this weekend, you're not having to play in that first round. But yeah, like the timing of it all is flawed. And frankly, they should probably start the playoff quicker than they do.
Yeah, the playoff, I mean, one of many problems with the playoff, one is, again, we're going to sit here this year and we're going to watch the quarterfinals and say, man, last weekend was really awesome when they were at campuses, and now here we are. There's one problem. Another problem is the calendar has to change. You can't – I mean, there's all kinds of issues with the calendar, as we see with the Kiffin thing and everything. But the playoff going until late January, you have to move, to me, maybe the whole season up.
Yeah.
But yeah, this weekend should be some level of starting the playoff. But again, the problem with, if I heard the caller right there, I mean, we just mentioned Duke. If Gruden is saying we're doing this by standings, that you can't do it, because I promise you, we're going to get locked into teams, even in those that should not be there, and teams that won't be. So, like it or not, even that situation, to me, has to be the committee has to be involved in that, so we don't have a freaking Duke with a chance here. I'm sorry, but like Duke, they played a terribly weak league schedule. They have 5 losses. They're not good. But because of their league schedule and stupid tiebreakers, they're in this position. This is going to happen over and over again if we count on standings with 18 and 16 team leagues. So as long as everybody can agree on that, that's not going to work, then some iteration of this, it's better than what we have this weekend.
Well, the other part of this is, like, you've got a 12-team playoff right now, and the what the caller's talking about is basically like extending that out. It's like, so why, like if I'm Texas A&M, like you could have if I'm Texas A&M, I'm sitting here and I'm saying, well, you guys can sit here and argue about whether or not Texas should be in the playoff with their 3 losses, or Vanderbilt or BYU or whoever. We're not a part of that. Like, we should be in the playoff. Have you seen what we've done this year? Like, so I'm not, if I'm like a team like Texas A&M, don't include me in like those bubble conversations. Like Ole Miss, I understand Ole Miss lost their coach, but like Ole Miss, like the debate right now is not really between Ole Miss and Texas A&M and some of these other one-loss teams that may not end up being top seeds, but they're squarely in the playoff. And if they're having to sit here and play against like Vanderbilt to get in, like to me, those are not the same things. Like if you want to have play-in games on the actual bubble, and I'm talking 10, 11, 12, 13 in that neighborhood, then I can have that conversation. If I'm like a 7 seed right now, I'm like, screw you. I'm not playing in that.
Right. And to the point there with Gruden, which apparently he made, which I mean, it's a good point. It's like, look, the playoff has become everything. I don't want it to get massive. Okay. And I guess you could, if you're going to do something like this, really then what is it? So we're going up to, I guess it's at least a 16.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's huge.
Yeah, but okay, fine. I mean, I kind of figured it's going to go to 16 anyways. Okay, well, then the top teams should all get the benefit of rest, just like in the NFL, right? I mean, this is the word bye and how it actually applies in the actual world. The word works here. You should get buys if you're one of the best teams, and so yeah, like this weekend should be the team. So I would absolutely be here for, and I know the teams would too, again, Vanderbilt, Miami, Notre Dame, Texas, Utah, USC. Okay. Yeah. For example, I guess USC would be the next one in there. Right. Now then it's like, so is that, I mean, Gruden said you can still have the championship games, but like, again, so why did Georgia and Alabama get penalized? For playing that game. I mean, it sucks, but like, I think these conference championships have been so devalued that I think you just say, okay, well, you just happen to have the best record, so here's your banner, and let's do the playoff.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line, the bottom line in all of this is the conference championship games in this new system have become an annoyance. That's what it is. Like conference championship games have become an annoyance. Now, if it's your team, like Indiana's a good example, and you've not won in a while, then you care about it, and that's fine. And look, like if Tennessee got in the SEC championship game and been there in a long time, they haven't won one since 1998. Yeah, I would care about it. But in general, like the college football community at large, it has become basically an annoyance and an old way of doing things in the old system that just frankly doesn't really line up all that much with the way that college football is now.
Exactly. So yes, I mean, I'm glad we have Ohio State, Indiana, because I want to see them play. We might not have seen them play otherwise. I want to see that game. I'm excited for it. And I think Indiana's excited for this opportunity. But yeah, I think way more often than not, it's going to be, oh God. I'm again, like Lane Kiffin, for as much as he lies, habitually, he did say the truth a few weeks ago. He's like, I don't want to be in the conference championship game.
Exactly.
No thanks. I don't want to go get beat up in that game. No, I don't want to be Georgia and get my quarterback knocked out for the playoff. No. And that's the problem, and they have to deal with it. Hey, I got a really important question, Robbie, and honestly, like, I think we need to address this, and I'm dumb for not having the answer. Jim says those hourly intros, it says great shot, and I think it says engage, right? What is that? I don't know what it is. Great shot, engage. What is that?
Slingshot engage. It's from Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby.
Slingshot engage. What part of the movie was that?
Oh, it's they're racing, and John C. Reilly's out there. They do the slingshot. They slingshot around each other. Right. Spoiler alert.
I had no idea this whole time.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I got a ghost runner on second.
Yeah. Let's quickly head back to our phone line. Welcome in Tim to the program. Tim, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, guys. Listen, this is going to sound stupid, but then it's going to point back to the whole deal with the way they've got this stuff going. Texas beat Texas A&M, right?
Yeah.
All right, according to the head-to-head, they should be ranked ahead of Texas A&M, right?
No, because you can't. The head-to-head doesn't just overtake everything. Huh?
Yeah. They're ranked ahead of Vanderbilt because they beat them head up.
Well,
and they got a losing record.
Right. So
That's my point.
No, but I understand what you're saying. But listen, head-to-head does not overwhelm everything. Obviously, like again, I know basketball's way different, but like in basketball, all kinds of head-to-head, whatever. Like they play a lot more games.
But I mean, what I'm saying though is they choose to pick who they want to use it. Notre Dame and Miami. Miami should be ahead of Notre Dame, right?
Well,
yeah, they
very well could end up being ahead of Notre Dame.
They didn't. No one has said that the head-to-head of Texas is why.
Well, I mean, but they pick and choose which ones they want to use it on, and to do their argument. And then the ones that they don't, they just kind of slip them under the rug. The whole committee, the way they got this set up, is I'm not sure they know what they're doing.
Well, thank you for the call, Tim. I think that's beyond fair. Like in terms of the explanations that are given are stupid. There's no doubt about that. I mean, we talk about that all the time. Some of the explanations, the set of criteria that they list for one situation somehow magically change when it's a different situation, and that's not just a this year thing. It's been that way the whole time with the College Football Playoff Committee.
Agree. So I agree with that in general. I will say just on that particular point they never said Texas had to head over Vanderbilt. That's why they're ahead. The reason, I mean, yes, they did beat Vanderbilt. That's a data point. Also, they beat Oklahoma badly. Now, Mateer was just back from injury. They also just beat Texas A&M. I mean, those 3 wins are technically better than any of Vanderbilt's. They also have the bad loss to Florida. So, it gets into – it's very close, but it's not just like that was because of the head-to-head. Like, they're going out of their way to tell us that head-to-head, they don't try to judge that until it's like splitting the tiniest of hairs.
Yeah. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We will get into the Charles Robinson conversation coming up next. Take your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. If you're looking for a good spot to watch NFL games this Sunday, come by Twin Peaks in Cool Springs, home of the 29-degree beer, and join 102.5 The Game for the pregame show before the Titans take on the Browns. Pregame show brought to you by Tennessee Brew Works and Circus Sportsbook Kentucky. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode. I have the Rex Rant coming up here in about 25 minutes, so make sure you are ready for that. Joe Rexrode, Paul Kuharski broke it down with Charles Robinson yesterday on the program. And obviously, Titans are looking for a head coach. A lot of interesting names swirling out there, and some more that could be on the way. Joe, what did we uncover yesterday with Charles Robinson?
Yeah, well, I think that there's with Charles his discussion. He mentioned the Ben Roethlisberger podcast.
Yeah,
does he have his own? Was he on somebody's podcast? I don't know.
He does one.
Okay, what's that called?
I don't know. I can't keep up with all these podcasts.
Big Ben's Buddies. I don't know.
Sure.
Okay.
If it's not called that, then that's what it should be now.
Big Ben and Buddies.
Yeah.
So he's talking. Shoot, he's talking. Tomlin, time to move on and go to Penn State. Looks like Matt Campbell might be getting the Penn State job. But
footballing with Ben Roethlisberger. He spells
ballin'.
Ballin. BAHLIN.
Yeah.
Why?
You're asking questions I don't know the answer to.
Why would it be spelled like that?
Maybe because that's saying it like a true Pittsburgh guy. I don't know.
Yins, Ballin. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, we talked with Charles, and look, you can tell from Charles, and we play it a little bit here, that he's more embracing. I mean, we talked about Tomlin thing a few weeks ago, and I think that it was kind of like, yeah, come on, right? And I think maybe it's still there with like a John Harbaugh, but I think with Tomlin. Again, more of like a mutual thing than the Steelers are going to fire him. I think you got a real discussion here at this point.
TK, I don't have any line to ownership, like straight up. I don't.
Yeah.
I know Ben's close to ownership. That to me
Tally.
is always sort of one of those lights that goes off in my head when he says something that would be related to a big move that ownership makes. It feels to me like it felt when we got to the end with Andy Reid in Philly. That's how it feels to me, where you're just like, I know this guy's a good coach, but coaches will tell you your messages go stale at some point. Like sometimes change is what's needed
For both sides.
Yeah, for both sides.
Yeah.
You just need to refresh it.
That was Charles Robinson on with Joe and PK yesterday. Now, Joe, Tomlin has been the coach in Pittsburgh since 2007. He was 35 years old when he took the job. It's 2025. He's been there for a long time. We know Pittsburgh, right? I mean, what have they had? 3 coaches in the history of their franchise? Like, it's pretty amazing what they've been able to do.
Or three since like 1969.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So like, it's the run that he's been on there has been a very long one, a very good one. They're always competitive, right? I mean, but it has been a long time since they've done any damage in the playoffs. So, number one, I'm interested to see if they make the playoffs this year. Number two, if they don't, could this finally be the time? And let's say he does shake free. And let's say, for sake of this argument, Joe, that he would have interest in the Tennessee Titans. If you're a Titans fan, would he immediately move to the top of your board? Like, is Mike Tomlin your guy at that point? What do you think?
Well, we've been sitting here talking about culture coaches. Yeah, I mean, unless there's one of the offensive play calling coaches that you have decided, like, again, I don't know what they're talking about, who they're talking to, unless you get really enamored with a less proven, because I can't, like, there's nobody in that. Well, I guess McCarthy and Nagy, I mean, those guys are, they are more proven. They have done it. Unless you happen to just think that's what you need, not doing this OC dancing game, and Cam needs the guy who's going to fit the whole scheme around Cam and all that stuff. Yeah, but that's, to me, we'd still be like, what? No, Tomlin's your number one. He'd be my number one. Yes. And again, we're sitting here talking about, yeah, Robert Saleh, culture coach, and maybe he can, maybe the Jets thing wasn't on him. Well, I know that Mike Tomlin is a good coach. I understand Steelers fans are disillusioned. They're sick of just being okay. And clearly, whatever his role is. Like they have not figured out quarterback. You know, it got old for Ben, right? Down the stretch there, Ben was struggling. And then obviously they have not been able to effectively address it. So you could take that off his plate, or you could give him some of the blame. The reality is that's a huge thing for them. And also, I just think they got some other great players. They've had great players, obviously on the defense side of the ball, but they're old now too. Like they're an old team. So but I get it. Steelers fans want to blame Tomlin. I'm sure that like it's fair to put some blame on him, right? I mean, you have to put some blame on him. I think it's insane that you would have this long of a tenure in the NFL without having a losing season. Go look at the great coaches in this league. They have downturns and all that stuff. So there's some things he does that I think are astounding, really. But yeah, look, I think he should be at the top of the Titans list if he's available. I think he'd be at the top of a lot of lists if he's available. And the Titans probably wouldn't be at the top of his list.
I would agree with all that. I would say this. Yes, I would be interested in Mike Tomlin. I mean, full stop. If I were the Titans and he became available, I would be interested in Mike Tomlin. You know, having said that, I mean, there are some things that have happened with them, you know, fairly recently that I'd want to talk to him about, right? Like, you know, they did draft Kenny Pickett. So, like, how involved were you with that? I would assume pretty involved because that was a pretty bad decision.
He practiced on the same practice field. You saw him every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, like obviously that's a big whiff.
Well, there's that. I mean, look, and I understand that one of these guys is its own special set of circumstances, but you have had some receivers roll through there that have just been absolutely like borderline crazy, right? Like Antonio Brown.
It's true.
Is nuts. You know, George Pickens, they couldn't handle, and he's gone off to Dallas. Now, we'll see as George Pickens goes along here what that looks like. And you know, he's having a really good year. He also is up for a new contract, so I'm aware of all that. And look, there are some games, there are some decisions. I know Steelers fans, if you talk to him, there are some in-game decisions that he'll make sometimes that remind you that it's 2000. It's almost like, I'm not going to say it's Mike McCoy. Like he punted a couple of weeks ago with like 2 minutes and 3 seconds left with a 2-minute warning, and they were down by a score, and they were all just screaming. Like all the Steelers fans were. It was like, "What are you doing? It's 2025. Go!" So like he's not perfect.
Sure.
So there's a reason that some Steelers fans have become disillusioned with it. Having said all that, yeah, I'd be interested in Mike Tomlin if I were the Titans.
Yeah, he's a defensive guy. He is, I think, the more of that mindset for sure. And so that infuriates people. It's funny because now I'm sitting here last night. Dan Campbell never goes for it on 4th down. Punts on 4th and 2. Dan Campbell. Maybe are we slingshotting back to that now in the NFL?
Maybe.
But no, I get it. In-game stuff and all that. I mean, that's all fair for sure. So, and again, I just think it's probably just one of those things where I think the Andy Reid comparison that Charles made, that's a great comparison. Now the difference, Tomlin has won one, but it was a long time ago. Reid never quite won it, and it's just like, okay, there was still like, can he ever win it vibes with him. Tomlin has won it, but it's the same thing. It's like, you know what? You're going to be coveted if you go out there. You find yourself a good spot. We'll move on, and it's just better for both parties.
615-737-1025, our phone number. If Mike Tomlin became available, would he become your number one target if you're the Titans? We'll take your thoughts on that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. This Sunday, the NFL game of the week is the Bengals taking on the Bills at noon on 102.5 The Game. NFL game of the week presented by Circus Sportsbook Kentucky in Massaro in 12 South. We'll have the Rex Rant coming up at 7:45. Teron Davenport will be with us at 8 o'clock. We'll look ahead to the Titans and the Browns with him. Throwing it out there, we heard Charles Robinson talk about it yesterday, that maybe kind of feels like with Mike Tomlin, the Andy Reid part of this, as he ended his time with Philadelphia. And, Philadelphia rebounded after that. Obviously, Andy Reid rebounded after that. So it worked out well, I guess, for both of them in the aftermath of that. But, Tomlin has been there in Pittsburgh since 2007. It's been a while since they were a threat in the playoffs. He has won a Super Bowl. That was in 2008. He's been to another one. That was in 2010, 2011. But it's been a long time since the Steelers have done some damage in the postseason. And could that be coming to an end here? And if it does Tomlin move to the top of the list for Titans fans? Ed on the text line says, after one meeting with Tomlin, I think Amy would offer him part ownership. One texter says, it's going to be Mike Vrabel 2.0, defensive-minded coach, low-scoring ball. Everybody's going to be complaining in 2 years that we're not playing fun football, but winning is winning. Doesn't matter if it's flashy or if you grind it out. You got to be there at the end to be able to compete for the championship.
Yeah, and look, I hear what people are saying because that's what they've been. It wasn't that long ago. You remember when they had Le'Veon Bell and they had Antonio Brown, those guys rolling? Like their offense was as fun to watch as an offense in the NFL. Period.
Yeah.
So let's also remember that. Again, Vrabel. Oh, it's gonna be like Vrabel. Well, in the 2020 season, the Titans scored 31 points a game, and they were as fun to watch. A 2,000-yard running back, a play-action passing game off that, big plays, AJ Brown. Sorry. So look at Vrabel's offense now, Mr. Defensive. He's going to have the MVP quarterback. Yeah, these coaches, even the defensive coaches, like if they have good offenses and good offensive players, like they're good with scoring. Like they're cool with that. I understand that's what it's been. It's been grindy for the Steelers lately because they just haven't found a quarterback, and they haven't found a great running back either, right? Like they just. So I think we want to. This is the style of football this guy likes to play. This is, why are the Eagles okay after Andy Reid left? Because they got great players. Was it because Doug Peterson was a great coach? He had a great coaching job in the Super Bowl, but get players. Also get a good coach, Mike Tomlin, if you can.
One texter points out his name is Mike. That does tend to put him on the list around here. A lot of Mikes have come in and out of here at the coaching spot.
That is true. Well, texter asked for fun. What would the fan media reaction be if the Titans hired Mike McCoy full time?
Well, we have to attend Kuharski's funeral from a heart attack.
Well, he's adamant that they cannot give him an interview. Like
I agree with him. He's
going to melt down if they. I think whatever. It's a formality. I mean, like this is, of all the things worth melting down about the Titans, like them doing like a solid and just being professional. Sure, Mike, come on in. Let's not get all mad about that.
Well, I'm not going to get mad about it, but
he will.
That's kind of the point. It's a formality and everybody knows it. So even if I'm Mike McCoy, I'd be like, yeah, okay, no thanks. I'm not wasting my time with this. Thank you though. I appreciate it.
I don't know. I think maybe he'll want to have a seat and sit down and have some things to say. You need to pull the media credential of Paul Kuharski. This is what you need to do.
You guys are going to know here in about 2 years that you do punt on 4th and 3 every time. 4th and 2 you go, 4th and 3 you punt. That's what we do.
He's not going to get it. If he did get it, to the texter's question, that would be an all-time meltdown. I would, there's a pretty substantial meltdown of Malarkey getting that job, right? I mean, that was a very uninspired feeling hire. It's like, right, like you got your rookie QB. Okay, obviously the guy who drafted him was a disaster. Get him out of here. Like then Malarkey, yeah. Now,
people weren't overly excited about it for sure.
But that's still, way different. He did good things. People are like, okay, this guy's good. And by the way, Mike Malarkey, for people who don't remember, you have to be of a certain age. He used to be called Inspector Gadget because he OC with the Steelers, which would have been with Tomlin, right? Yeah, he was Tomlin's OC.
Yeah.
With Antoine Randall and those guys, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they had all kinds of trick plays. So, just saying. I don't know what I'm saying there, but it's just kind of interesting, right? But Mike McCoy is not Mike Mularkey. You are no Mike Mularkey, sir.
Well, I mean, you brought up something earlier. Clearly, they've talked about culture. Mike Tomlin would be about as good of a fit for that as I guess it gets, right? So I tend to be with you. Like if the time comes this year where they split in Pittsburgh, he's probably going to have several teams that come after him and are interested. I don't know how the Titans are going to fare when it comes to that and where they fall on that list. My guess is probably not very high, but I'd be looking. Like if he becomes available, I'd be making a call if I'm the Titans pretty quickly on that front.
Well, and look, yeah, I don't like your chances. Okay, I'm just going to tell you right now. But yeah, think about how loaded. If it's this loaded, this coaching cycle with really attractive candidates, I mean, that just automatically means you might have access to someone you or otherwise would not have. I mean, I'm with Kaharski on the Stefanski thing. If that happens to unfold, I think also he would be. I think he's done a pretty good job under some pretty freaking bad circumstances there with the Browns. The guy who's taking aim at the Titans this weekend, a game that we hopefully will not break down for 1 second of the entire week. But
we're going to do it here in a minute. We're going to get hot and heavy into it just for you.
Oh, crap. I spoke too soon. But he's a guy, obviously. The Harbaugh thing, that one's hard for me to buy. Although you can look at it the same way. Like, well, had some great success in the past, had some great teams that totally blew it in the postseason. Great tenure. Maybe it's time to move. I mean, at some point that may happen. I highly doubt we're going to get that and Stefanski and Tomlin all in the same year. If that did happen, you'd really have some prime candidates there in your search if you're the Titans. And you'd probably have to rethink a lot of the work you've been doing on people like Jesse Minter.
Let me ask you this. I mean, you brought up somebody earlier that we've not really talked about at all that has been the head coach of a Super Bowl winning team, and that is Doug Peterson. I know that the last time out didn't go great for him in Jacksonville. It is Jacksonville, right? And I understand that his replacement doing a pretty good job right now. So does that just totally take him off the list if you're the Titans? How it went in Jacksonville?
I don't know. I don't think it's – I mean, I think it's worth a discussion. If you're going to have a discussion about like Shula and Minter and some of these people who, who have not really, obviously have not been head coaches, have not proved a ton, why wouldn't you have a conversation about a coach who has been a head coach at multiple places and has won a Super Bowl? And by the way, again, I think that might be the best coach game I've ever seen in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like the aggression and the creativity that it required to beat Tom Brady. I mean, great job by Brady. Got some great stats, empty stats in another Super Bowl loss. But yeah, that was a pretty impressive. I mean, it was a while ago, but yeah, why would he be? Why would you not talk about that guy? I know people don't get excited when you hear it, but it's like, okay, but you're excited about Mike McCarthy,
right? No, that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like he's come up some from some conversations I've seen with Titans fans, but not a whole lot, right? Because and I know why. He was just the coach of one of your division rivals, and it went very poorly. So I get it. I understand why. But he has, at different times in his career proven to be a pretty good coach, and he's out there and he's available. I'm just saying, like, if you're looking for head coaching experience and guys who have won in this league, he would have to be on the list somewhere.
Yeah, and obviously I think obviously it's a big list. They've had a lot of time here.
They have. Hopefully you've used it well.
Yeah, but again, it's like, but then if a Tomlin happens, right? Yeah, that's the thing. You also have to. You just don't know exactly what all is going to take place. We know Black Monday in the NFL.
Yep.
There's always at least one or two that take you by surprise, too, right? I mean, almost always. There's at least one that you didn't see coming. So you also have to, and then that can change the order of things pretty quickly. But yeah, I found Breer's report interesting, and I understand the idea of, if you can find that young coordinator who who you feel like maybe you just got ahead of the curve. I mean, that's kind of like when you have this extra time, I mean, you can really, really dig in on people, and maybe it's like, you know what, someone's gonna in 2-3 years, this is gonna be a great coach. I don't care about winning the press conference. Let's get that person now. And then I also think back to when they hired Brian Callahan, and it was like, man, great job, Titans. Look what you did here. You beat other teams that wanted Brian Callahan.
Yep. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. Tomorrow's college football game of the week, number 2 Indiana versus number 1 Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game on 94.9 The Fan at 7 o'clock. Coverage presented by Circus Sportsbook Kentucky and also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. This is Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment, let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Go to the doctor for Proctor.
Can I help you? Yeah, Dr. Cosmo Kramer, proctology. Okay, sure, Doc. Yeah, thanks. Have a good day.
We love we ass, okay?
if you don't want your quarterback to see a doctor, draft Caden Proctor.
That's better than
in
mine.
2026.
That's better than 9.
Ass man. No, these don't belong to me. I'm not the ass man. I think there's been a mistake.
We ass, we in. We love, we ass.
Ass man. I'll give him ass man.
Oh my God. My ass is burning.
She does not disrobe anywhere near me.
It is time for the Rex Rant, brought to you by Functional Medicine of Tennessee. Rise up to better health. You can check them out at functionalmedicinetennessee.net. Joe, the floor is yours. I don't even know where to go from there.
I don't really either. Like when Ian does something like that, I feel like maybe I should shift to like a hemorrhoid rant or something. You know what I mean? Just to like keep the theme going. But I don't. I don't.
Well, but I want the Titans to draft Caden Proctor again now. Let's spend a lot of time talking about that.
I know. I forgot that when the initial thing was said there, I'm like, wait, Proctor? Who's Proctor? Oh, yeah. Caden Proctor. Yeah. Get another Alabama offensive lineman. It's gone well. Yeah. The all-time Titans Alabama offensive line, Warmack, Latham, and Proctor. Who else?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Anybody else in there? Okay. I'm gonna hit a few things here, but I guess it's a Friday grab bag. And first of all, like this is nothing I'm angry about. This is actually something I'm really thrilled about. I do want to, Matt has been texting, so I do want to give a shout out to Nashville Junior Preds, Southeast Blades, the Tier 1 Elite Hockey Tournament in Detroit. Good luck, guys. There's my shout out.
Yes.
And kind of sticking with that, I was very fortunate a couple weeks ago to meet Jaden Bailey. And, you know, all due respect to my Nolensville Knights, Friday is for Knights. You know, the Lebanon Blue Devils are my adopted favorite team now. Jaden Bailey, my favorite player, 16-year-old junior for Lebanon, forward. And I was able to write a story on him. Paul Scribina did a great story on him at the Tennessean. Everybody should do a story on him. He's been battling cancer since 2022. He's 16 years old. He got his left arm amputated in August, which was a huge relief for him because the cancer was overwhelming in that arm. It was just basically dragging around. He's out there catching and shooting. It's amazing to watch him play basketball. He's an effective basketball player. He lives life with joy. He was told about a year ago that hospice needed to come in and that the cancer had spread to his lungs and that he had very little time to live. Here he is bawling right now. He was told on October 5th, hospice needs to come in. You got a very short time to live. He's, people at school thought he had 2 weeks left. He's bawling right now, okay? And with joy. And he's a hero to me. He should be a hero to anybody. He's meeting Kentucky today. Kentucky-Gonzaga play tonight. He's going to go to Kentucky's practice. The University of Kentucky Sports Network did a feature on him. They're going to talk about him tonight on the broadcast. And so all media, if anybody around here is listening, TV stations or anything, like go meet him and do a story on him. He's an incredible inspiration. I'm very lucky to have met him and just going to be rooting for him. And I'm just so excited that he gets experiences like this. He got to go to North Carolina actually last year and meet those guys. He's a Tar Heels fan. So plays for the Blue Devils, roots for the Tar Heels. But Jaden Bailey, he can't be talked about enough, and I'm so excited that he's going to get this this spotlight tonight. Yep. So there's that. I was going to actually use this to yell about Mike Florio. I guess we should could throw a quick conversation out about Mike Florio. Have you seen this whole thing with this Pittsburgh stuff?
I've seen some of it. Yes.
I don't know, Mike. He's fine on Sunday Night Football. He's sort of like he's kind of like, I guess in a way, Kaharski, like in terms of like judging media, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, there's nothing wrong with someone who's out there naming names or whatever, or, calling people out. Kaharski loves to do that. Tom Pelissero. Oh, another list of your agent friends. Oh, thank you so much. And then Kaharski makes him a plate of eggs to kiss his butt, and so he unblocks him. But Florio kind of does that stuff. But this week, Aaron Rodgers says whatever about people not going to workouts. He made some comment. And Florio makes this big deal, that then he had a next availability. No Pittsburgh media even asked a follow up, which of course would be a terrible thing. That would be a huge indictment of the and of course, so then the responses to that are, oh yeah, media, they're soft, blah blah blah. Well, Brooke Pryor, who covers the Steelers for ESPN, asked exactly the question, exactly the right question, made Aaron Rodgers squirm. He sort of changed his answer. It was exactly like it's exactly what you're supposed to do. Like, okay, so what did you mean by this? And then he sort of changed his story a little, whatever. But the point is, Mike Florio was totally wrong. And the thing is, people make mistakes. You miss stuff. It's okay. So just say, my apologies. I missed this. No, can't do it. Can't do it. You just can't have the decency to just be like, oh yeah, my bad. I miss it. People miss stuff all the time. It's okay. He can never be wrong, is what it seems like to me from afar. And so now he's getting dunked on for it way more than if he said, oh yeah, my bad. Sorry, I didn't see that you asked that question. So now, great. I guess if you're him, people talk about you more. We're talking about him now. Why else would we be talking about him? So congratulations. I had one more too. Wait, what else was I going to? Oh yeah. Ian, do you have that? Do you have that audio? I'm sorry.
Yes, I do.
I'm so sorry. All right. So we ripped on the Penn State coaching search yesterday, and it deserves Pat Kraft. Oh my goodness!
Nice job.
You fired a guy in October, and the guy you fired is making fun of you by ordering crumble cookies to his recruiting signing day press conference. Everybody else is hiring these coaches, but Penn State might save the day with Matt Campbell of Iowa State. Matt Campbell's interesting. He's done really well there, but also it's like every year it's kind of disappointing. Like they never get over the hump. That, as you pointed out earlier, Robbie, he has said that this year that he had the toughest schedule in the country, and it was like UNLV and
it's amazing he didn't get fired.
Kansas State. But I just thought, if you're a Penn State fan listening, I want you to hear this is maybe your next coach.
How do you as a coach view goals? Because at the beginning of the season, your players, the goal was Big 12 championship.
Oh, not me. That was never my goal.
Okay.
My goal has always been one thing, and that's to become the best version of ourselves we can become. So you've never heard me say that word once. You've only heard me talk about becoming the best version of yourself you can be. And really my challenge for this year's team was to become the greatest together team in the history of Iowa State football. And so far, all of our goals are still intact from a Coach Campbell standpoint. Now, could our players have other goals and aspirations? Sure. Do I want them to have great goals and aspirations? Sure. But that's not Coach Campbell's goal. That was never said by me.
So here's the follow-up. I don't know what was that. Was a tweet, so we use it. The desperately needed follow-up is, okay, is this the best version of yourself? 8-4? Did you meet your goal or not? Is this the best version of yourself? The most together team. Well, we lost some games, but we are so together. I mean, there's some Butch Jones vibes.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say, man. I'm having some flashbacks. Good grief. That was rough.
I mean, that was very much like the Champions of Life commentary.
That may disqualify him if I'm a Penn State fan. That's awful.
It's okay as a coach to say, like, we want to win and we want to win championships. That's what you're supposed to. That's why you get hired, why you get paid, and then when you don't, you get fired. That's
also referring to yourself as Coach Campbell, which is also just very funny. You never heard Coach Campbell say that. That's you.
Coach Campbell's getting upset. Jimmy's not happy. Bring it back to Seinfeld.
Look, maybe he does deserve a lot of credit. 8-4 with the self-proclaimed toughest schedule in America. That's good stuff.
Why aren't they in the playoff? I mean, the toughest schedule in America at 8-4. That doesn't deserve consideration.
Never mind. They lost to Colorado this year, but there's that.
Good God, did they?
Yeah, they did.
But they're very together.
They are
the best. There's still the version of themselves is a very together version.
Well, Teron Davenport.
We are
without a coach. Teron Davenport coming up next. We'll get into the Titans and Browns with him. Robby and Rexrode 102.5 The Game.
ESPN's Turon Davenport talking Titans now on Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is that time of the week. We welcome our friend Turon Davenport to the program. ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, presented by Bart Durham Injury Law and fueled by Parman Energy on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. TD, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning. I'm awesome, man. How are you guys?
Doing great, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. So, TD, I just want to start here. It's a terrifying matchup on paper. It really is. I mean, Myles Garrett, I have no idea what the Titans are going to do to stop him in this game because nobody can stop Myles Garrett. When you look at that part of it specifically, how hard is it in your mind to envision the Titans offense getting anything done in this game when you factor in, number one, how bad the Titans offense has been, and number two, they're taking on a guy this week that, you know, as you know, people try to double, people try to chip, they try to do everything to Myles Garrett all the time, and the dude's got 19 sacks on December the 5th as we sit here today. So is there a scenario where you can envision where he just doesn't totally wreck this thing for the Titans?
Yeah, I mean, outside of him not being healthy, no. I think you look at this guy, he's a man on a mission, absolute game wrecker. That's what Peter Skoronski called him. And you got a game plan for him, but you still, even once you put it together, it's still not enough. So, yeah, it's going to be tough sledding, that's for sure.
Well, let's stick with, I guess, part of that matchup, obviously, and a guy who I think has been talked about a lot, probably a lot, even going back in the season. I think we talked about him as like he's one of the key individual storylines, but then obviously it hasn't gone well. You know, is he being called out? Is he not? Whatever. But J.C. Latham, where are you on him, TD? Where is he? You know, in terms of like, do you feel like confidence is an issue? Obviously, you know, there's some film. There's like the play where he basically just Tyjae Spears gets blown up and then Tyjae kind of gets in his face. I mean, that's one play in a game. So there's a lot more snaps than that. He's had some good snaps and some good stretches, but where do you think J.C. Latham is and where the Titans are on him right now?
Yeah, where he is on himself is the big question. And it's just always weird when you have a guy that has a lot of ability and you're not getting the production, you're not getting the level of play that usually goes with, you know, a guy that's very talented. So, I mean, look, I think when you look at this, I asked him about the mental mindset, you know, like how do you approach a week of preparation for a guy like Myles Garrett? And he seemed to have a good answer there. You know, he just talked about having confidence in himself, acknowledging that he's a good player, but feeling like he's a good player also, you know. And I think as far as me on J.C. Latham, I'm down. It hasn't been good, you know, and they just have to figure it out. And you have people already calling for him to bump inside to guard. So that would be yet another move that he made, the third position he will play in the league. I don't know that the Titans are going to do that, but you know, something just has to click, and it's just not happening. And unfortunately, like this week, this isn't going to be a good week for his own mental mindset, you know, going against Myles Garrett.
So, TD, obviously, you know, from a national standpoint, there's a lot of talk about Ward and Shedeur heading into this game. I'm interested from your perspective on the Titans' defensive front. Like, what do you make of Shedeur, still very early in his career, and maybe an opportunity for the Titans' defense to really respond and play well this week?
Well, it's all about keeping him in the pocket, and that's what Jeffrey Simmons he talked about. You know, when he does drift, you got to take advantage of that and get to him. And a game like this, you not only have to get to him, you have to force a turnover, right, and put the offense in position to, you know, get points. And unfortunately, their points are usually field goals, so that just kind of is what it is. But I think when you look at Shedeur, they like to boot him, they like to get him on the move, and so when that type of thing is happening, you got to do what you can just to keep him from being able to set up and you know, find the guys down the field or even on the short passes. Because Harold Fannin Jr., you know, the tight end, from Bowling Green. And this guy he's a legit playmaker, and he's kind of supplanted David Njoku as the tight end for that offense. So I think really it's about taking those weapons away, making him uncomfortable, and not allowing him to spot up and find his guys.
It's early, and it's not like it's been great or anything like that so far, but I still feel like what I've seen, I see some of the ability that I've always thought Shedeur had. I think you were also you were on the Shedeur is the best QB in the last draft, right? With me.
Look, I felt like he was the best QB for the Titans. That was the approach that I had. I loved watching him play, and it's still early, like you said.
So I just, and I don't mean to rip Dillon Gabriel. I mean, nice player, nice college career and all that. I just have never bought Shedeur or Dillon Gabriel being a better player than Shedeur Sanders.
No.
Like, is Shedeur Sanders? Do you feel like this is going to be like he's going to actually give himself a chance to be their guy, or do you expect them to be full QB market this next offseason?
I think there'll be QB market. Yeah, it's Cleveland, man. That's what they do.
That is true.
They're the equivalent to every Black Friday you got TVs on sale. You know what I mean? Every year they're looking at a quarterback. It's just the way it is.
That's a good point. Good point. TD, another guy I want to ask you about in terms of where you think this is all headed, and that's Sweat, T'Vondre Sweat. Obviously heading into the year, there were huge expectations, and he got derailed in training camp with the injury and all those things. There just hasn't been a ton of impact from T'Vondre Sweat when you look at the totality of it. So I understand that, it's injuries have been a part of it this year, but where do you think it's all going with him right now in the short term as the Titans are trying to piece together what their roster is going to look like heading into next year?
Yeah, I mean, he's another one. There's a lot of room for improvement, and you see the talent, and you're not seeing the production. I'll say this, and I said it on Next Man Up yesterday. There was a play early in that game where, it was a screen, and the big fella, 360-plus pounds, he ran down the screen to the opposite side. So you're seeing flashes of the effort and the ability that it took to make the guy a high pick. But, I mean, to your point, you're not having enough of those plays, right? Enough of those big impact plays. And you know what has kind of happened with this also? They found something with Jihad Ward as an inside pass rusher, and Hadi, that guy, he's disruptive, and he could play inside and outside. But you look on passing downs. I was watching on Sunday. You see 93 come running out, and 53 bumps inside. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what's happening. The reps there aren't happening as much because Jihad Ward has just frankly played better.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to ignore him at this point now.
Man.
Is he potentially someone who could be actually like a part of the not just super short term future for this team?
Absolutely, and it's wild to think. He was a second round pick out of Illinois. He bounced around multiple teams, but yeah, I think he definitely can. And here's the thing, Rexrode, it's more than just what he's doing on the field. If you're in that locker room, he's one of the guys that kind of keeps it upbeat. But he's also someone that has the mindset that is good for these younger players. I was talking to him yesterday, and he said the biggest lesson that he's learned in the league is to communicate. And he said it's not just communicate from player to player, communicate with your coaches, communicate with the person, the development group and those things. And you never know what you can learn from someone. And he said that. I'm like, wow, like that's a life lesson, let alone, just a football lesson,
So, TD, I want to get your thoughts on this. We talked about this earlier. Charles Robinson was on yesterday and talked about, kind of the uncertain future here with Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he gave the example of it, kind of starting to feel like, Andy Reid at the end of his tenure in Philadelphia. So, look, I understand there's a long way to go. I understand that if he came available, there would be probably a long list of teams that want to get him in there, and I don't know where the Titans would fall on that. But my question for you is, if he becomes available, like, is Mike Tomlin unquestionably your number one guy on the list? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is another thing we went over, and that's it. Charles that's a great example, a great analogy. Andy. I remember Andy Reid at towards the end of Philly, and it was just like it was stale. Like, it was the relationship. It just kind of it ran its course, and that's kind of what you're seeing in Pittsburgh. But man, would they really fire him? This 3 coaches in the history since 1965.
Yeah,
that's crazy to think of. But if he does become available, imagine, he brings Arthur Smith there, keeps Denard Wilson, keeps John Fossil. I think that's a coaching staff that could do some things, but it's like, would he go from the most stable organization maybe in sports? 3 coaches in over 50 years, would he go from that to one of the most unstable organizations in the league? That's the question that I would have.
Yeah, I like that you got the whole staff put together there. I like it. I like the sound of it. But yeah, I have a feeling that he probably would have better options. And yeah, no doubt. Talk about like a contrast in ownership. My goodness. Let's stay on the coaching front, TD. Sorry. Let's stay on the coaching front. Just Mike McCoy. It just seems like, and I understand, like, everybody, like, we're all at times like, dude, just go for it, right, with Mike McCoy. But is it more than that, like, in terms of player frustration with him, or is it mostly just frustration with losing and, at times his lack of aggression?
Yeah, I think it's all of the above. Imagine winning 4 games in almost 2 years. I couldn't imagine that. That would disgust me. And I think when you look at some of the things, like 4th and 3, they don't go for it because their play that they had was for 4th and 2, a yard. Like, what's going on here? So it's unfortunate that he's in that situation and he says some of the things he says, because it really is like you scratch your head like, I mean, what's the difference? So it's a bad situation.
That 4th and 3 is tough sometimes, TD. 4th and 2, I feel good about it.
4th and 2, no problem at all.
That's when you really start to question things, I think. Oh, man.
And here's where it gets like, come on, man, because you talk about being in more manageable type of situations, right? And obviously that's referring more to earlier in the series, but like you try to stay ahead of schedule earlier in the series so you could get into these 4th and 3 situations. And then just to think, like, even look at the run game. 36 rushing yards on that first series. Tony Pollard had. They didn't run the ball after that, and it's user error, right? Because you look at like they would call a run, it would get like 3 yards, but then you have a penalty that knocks them off schedule. And next thing you know, it's a 3 and out, and they're punting, and the defense is back on the field, and it's just like, they're going on the field. Rex, remember the song "Here We Go Again," the DMX one? That's how they're running it back on the field. Here we go again. You know what I mean? After another 3 and out, it's tough.
Play that on your phone really loud next time he talks.
No, just the only thing you need to do with your phone when he's talking is be ready to call 911 in case Kuharski passes out in the middle of it. TD.
Yeah, man, that poor guy.
Oh, man. Enjoy yourself in Cleveland this weekend. I guess we could see a little bit of snow up there on Sunday, so get excited about that, and we will talk to you next week, my man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. This is like tomorrow. I'm staying inside, man. That's it. I'm not going outside. Sunday, we'll see what happens.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Teron Davenport, presented by Bart Durham Injury Law and fueled by Parman Energy. We'll react to what TD had to say on the Titans and the Browns coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby and Rexrode live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Appreciate TD for being with us in the last segment. We will have Pigskin Pick'em coming up here very shortly, here in about 10 minutes. Joe, as I mentioned with TD, it's hard to imagine Myles Garrett not just totally wreaking havoc on this game here. As TD said, as long as he is healthy in the game. I mean, think about this. I was thinking about this earlier this week. He's at 19 sacks in 12 games, which is just absurd what he's been able to do. And yet, that would require, Joe, 3.5 sacks in this game for him to tie the single season sack record. And yet, legitimately, truthfully, if you ask me here today whether or not I would be surprised if he didn't do it on Sunday, my answer is yes. Like, I will be legitimately surprised if Myles Garrett doesn't finish with at least 3.5 sacks on Sunday. Just think about how ridiculous that sounds, Joe. But that's where I am.
Yeah. Well, we could have a wager. I don't think he'll. I'll take the controversial stance that he will only get 3 sacks. Okay. I actually set the over-under at 2.5, which is an insanely high over-under for one player in sacks in a game, by the way.
NFL game.
Yeah. Like the over-under for Myles Garrett in any game would be what? I don't know. For people who do player props, I mean, it's probably 1.5, I guess.
Probably.
Like, you couldn't possibly go higher than that, right? Like, if you're a book, if you're a sports book, you couldn't possibly go higher than 1.5. It's like baseball; it's always 1.5, right? Would I be right about that?
You're correct. I mean,
Okay.
I'm trying to see if I can look on here and find what his prop is here.
And I'm selling him short.
Yeah, I'm seeing consensus 1.5. There's a
Right.
1.25 on here too from some places.
Why the hell? Why would you? Please explain that to me.
I don't know.
Well, I guess that's right. You can get
over
half
or
sacks.
under if you get a half sack.
That's true.
Yeah.
You can get half sacks. Okay, I was like, wait a minute, what? 1.25? Yeah. Okay. All right. that makes sense.
1.107.
Yeah. Pie. He's gonna have pie sacks against the Titans. 3.14, 7.30. Blah blah blah.
Danielle Hunter this week is 0.75 over under on some places, so it's probably around there. Give or take on any given week.
So I'm going to disrespect him and say the over-under for him this week is 2.5. But I think he's only going to get 3 sacks, Robby.
What a disappointing day for him that would be. Good
Exactly.
grief. I mean, his last 5 games, he's got 5 sacks against New England, 1 against the Jets, 4 against the Ravens, 3 against the Raiders, 1 against the 49ers. That's his last 5 games. So, I mean, that's incredible. 19 sacks through 12 games.
No, it really is. And, think about from the perspective of like the holistic Cleveland Browns, I feel like if you go back through some of the great sack seasons and just players, you're talking about, LT and great Giants teams, Bruce Smith and Super Bowl Buffalo teams, Reggie White and great Eagles and Packers teams, or at least very good. Like, they don't even have leads. It's not like he has a bunch of fourth quarters where his team's up 2 touchdowns. They're like, there you go. They're throwing on this now. Just keep going and get the quarterback. No, like they're in low scoring usually, or they're getting their butts kicked, and he still is dominant. I don't think that enough is made of that. Situationally, he's at a disadvantage, and yet he's still doing this. It's truly incredible.
Well, and again, like, I think back to Dan Moore when they signed him. And it was like, well, he played in the AFC North. You don't have to worry about that. Well, guess what?
Well,
we're back in the AFC North coming up this weekend. And I think about the way he's playing and the way that Latham is playing right now. And I don't know what the Titans are going to do to stop him in this game.
Hi, Dan Moore. Good to see you again. Miles, remember me?
You want to swap jerseys after the game?
There's your jock strap. Pick that up. Give me your jersey. No, it's It's gonna be between that, the intrigue of that, and of course, obviously the Shedeur. I don't see how there's any actual discourse. Again, TD and I were highest on Shedeur and others in this draft, or I guess TD said for the Titans. For me, it was in this draft. I still don't think either of these guys should have been taken first overall. If Shedeur beats Cam Ward, remember that it doesn't mean much. But I'm sure if that happens, I guess if Shedeur plays really well, which is possible, I mean, he is playing the Titans, then maybe some people will shed a tear.
Myles Garrett will have 4.5 sacks on Sunday. That's my official prediction.
Okay.
4.5.
I got him at 3. If you're him, is it disappointing that you set the record against a team that's this cheeks?
Nope.
Okay.
Just go ahead and do it.
Like I'd rather set it against the Steelers or the Ravens. You know what I mean?
I think it would be awesome if he set the record with still like a month left to play football. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, we don't have to have Brett Favre like, oh, hi, buddy. Hi, Michael. Here, let me lay down for you. What a joke.
Looks like the record for most sacks in a game belongs to Derek Thomas. I believe, was it 7 or 9? Hold on.
I mean, you could have told me
which is it?
7.
I was going to say, if someone got 9 sacks in a game, dude.
7 games versus Seattle in November of 1990.
Wow.
I mean, look, we saw what's
Craig?
his name? Chandler Jones get he had about 1 billion sacks against Taylor Lewan in that Arizona game, didn't he? I think it was actually
did he have
5. It was 5.
He had 5, full 5. Wow.
Yeah.
Welcome back out, it's Mandor! If the Titans do give up the record, they absolutely have to introduce the offense next home game so that Latham and Mandor can both be introduced.
Don't even make Cam Ward run out last. Just get him out there and then have the 2 tackles come out last. Save the 2 tackles for the last players.
Together. Have them come out together with arms locked.
And now in tandem, Dan Moore and J.C. Latham.
They can come out like the Iowa. You ever watch when Iowa comes in and they just walk really slowly with their arms locked? Very intimidating.
The 11,000 people in the stands just yelling. Be good stuff. So yeah, anyway, Titans Browns should be a lot of fun on Sunday.
We're down bad. Yep.
Over under 33.5. How about it?
Oh boy.
My
33.5 for an NFL
That's
game.
about as low as it gets.
I don't think I've ever heard a lower over under.
Well, it could be like spitting snow a little bit too. I don't think it's going to be crazy, but I just looked at the weather in Cleveland. They could get like an inch of snow on Sunday.
Now, who's taking the over? Anybody?
I'm not. Well, look, I will say don't underestimate the Titans' ability to give up a lot of points to anybody.
14-3, 21-3, 20. Yeah. We have a 21-7. Those are all under, so it could be right around there.
I mean, it's not crazy that this game could be 20-17, is it? Is that asking too much?
I don't
Seems
think
like 17 points.
17 points against that defense.
Yeah. Okay. 23-14.
I don't think they're scoring 2 touchdowns against that defense.
27-10.
You need a DK punt return. That's what they really need in this game.
Yeah.
Or some type of defensive turnover and set yourself up in good field position. Maybe
he leads the NFL
knock a couple
in total yards, by the way.
He does. We'll have Pigskin Pick'em coming up next, 615-737-1025. Our phone number, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Now, it's time for Pigskin Pick'em with Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is time for Pigskin Pick'em here on Robby and Rexrode. A standings update in the competition. Rexrode again leading the way last week, 4-2 with his lock. I went 3-3 with my lock. Ian 2-4, no lock, which brings the overall standings. I'm remaining first, 44-40 overall, 6-8 on my locks, 50 points. Rexrode has vaulted into second place, 37-47 overall, but 9-5 on his locks, 46 points. Ian Safar 40-44, 5-9 on his locks, 45 points. So some changing in the competition.
We got a stretch run here. Everybody's in this thing.
Everybody's in it. It is conference championship weekend, and that is where we begin today. The SEC championship, Georgia taking on Alabama. Georgia is a 2.5-point favorite in this matchup. Joe, I'm going first, and I'm going to take Alabama in the matchup. I take Alabama to cover, and I will take Alabama to win outright. But look, it's Georgia, Alabama. Until Georgia beats them with some sort of consistency, I'm going to Alabama. So I'll take Alabama plus the 2.5. Joe Rexrode, who we got?
Yeah, I think it's Georgia's time. I think they're playing better football than Alabama. There have been some inexplicable Georgia losses to Alabama, and certainly the reason Bama's going to be in this field is because they won in Athens this year. But I think they're sick of it. They've been sick of it, and it didn't help them before, but I think this time they're going to get them. So give me the Dogs minus the 2.5.
Ian Safar, who we got?
I actually also am taking Georgia. I think Joe said it well. They're playing better right now. Georgia's definitely playing much better the last back half of the season compared to Bama, who's kind of maybe taking a half a step back. I don't feel great about the whole Bama Georgia, history here, but I am going to take Georgia. They can win by a field goal and still cover, so we'll go with that.
Indiana taking on Ohio State in the Big Ten title game. Ohio State is a 4.5-point favorite. Joe Rexrode, you begin with this one.
Well, forgive me, Kurt Signetti, but give me – you said it's 4, right?
4.5, yeah.
It's 4.5. Forgive me, Kurt Signetti, but I'm taking the Buckeyes, and that is my lock. If Indiana wins this game, and I know it's a huge game, and it's in Indianapolis and all that stuff, man, you got to tip your cap to Signetti for it's amazing how you could get them to this level with the snap of a finger. Incredible coaching. I watch Ohio State. I think they're clearly the best team, the most talented team. They're loaded on both sides of the ball, and I think they're going to win this game by double figures.
Ian Safar, who we got between Ohio State and Indiana?
Yeah, I kind of thought the spread might be a little bit bigger, but I also am taking Ohio State minus 4.5.
I will complete the sweep and go Ohio State as well. No respect given to the Hoosiers.
I haven't watched enough. I haven't watched enough Indiana this year. I don't know. Their schedule just hasn't been good for TV, or the timing just hasn't worked out. I haven't watched enough. I don't have a great feel for them.
I mean, the win at Oregon was an eye opener because they went and just straight up bullied Oregon. But that's the problem with the Big Ten is there's so few games in that crappy league that are even watchable. But this one is.
The Titans and the Browns, and what I'm sure will be a barn burner coming up on Sunday in Cleveland. The Browns are a 3.5-point favorite in this matchup. Ian Safar, who you got with the Titans and the Browns?
I mean, I guess I have to take the Browns. The Titans feel like, I don't know, just not going well. This is not, we've talked about it. The offense probably won't put up a lot of points. So bad weather. I'll take the Browns.
It'll be a win in this game if Cam Ward walks out of there on 2 feet. Give me the Browns minus 3.5. Not that I think the Browns are good, but I don't think the Titans are going to score any points. So I'll go with the Browns minus the 3.5. Joe Rexrode, who we got?
I can't believe none of us are making this our lock. Yeah, it's a sweep of the Browns. I'm kind of regretting not making it my lock, but whatever. It's fine. Browns.
Well, I'm not making it my lock because there's something I must do this week.
Oh, boy.
Packers minus 6.5 against the Bears. Lock.
Guarantee.
I'm sick of the talking.
Yep.
I'm sick of the mouth running. We're going to find out on Sunday. Packers a 6.5-point favorite at home against the Chicago Bears. Huge game in the NFC playoff picture. We'll see how it goes. But I will lock down on the Green Bay Packers against the Chicago Bears. Joe Rexrode, your first individual selection.
I hope Ryan from Chicago is listening. I hope you're listening, Ryan from Chicago. I need to see some banter between you two. So we've got North Texas Tulane. Tulane getting 2.5 in the American Championship game. John Summerall moving on to Florida. Is it going to work out with him, like coaching Tulane still and all that? You know what? I just think he has a better team, and I think everything's gone fine. They understand the situation. The guy's going to get a chance to coach the Gators. I think that team's motivated to get in the playoff, and I like the Green Wave with the 2.5.
Ian Safari, your first individual selection.
Okay, my lock this week is actually Chargers plus 2.5 versus the Eagles.
Ooh, Monday Night Football. Chargers plus 2.5 against the Eagles, and he is locking down on it. I like that. I like that a lot. Joe, I guess I'll go ahead with my second pick because it's the same one you just made. Tulane plus the 2.5 against North Texas. And then, thank God, we'll get to watch him in the college football playoff. That'll be great. All righty. Okay. Ian, your second individual selection.
Okay, I'm going to stick with Houston. They did well for me last week, plus 3.5 at Kansas City. A little extra half a point there. Houston plus 3.5 at KC.
Huge game in the AFC playoff picture. Houston plus the 3.5 against the Chiefs on the road. Joe Rexrode, your second individual selection.
Ian and I going head to head. He's got a lock on the Chargers. I say the Eagles, who are very erratic and very Jekyll and Hyde, are actually going to show up and play Eagles football. So give me the Eagles minus 2.5 on the road. They're going to win outright. Sorry, Harbster.
Very nice. Very nice. Joe, go ahead and close us out with your final individual selection.
I don't know why I keep doing this because it keeps biting me, but I keep picking teams to cover pretty big spreads against the Bengals, and the Bengals just flat out beat those teams. This has happened multiple times this year. And yet, Bengals at Bills, Bills minus 5.5. I just can't imagine the Bills aren't going to win this game by at least a touchdown. It's inexcusable to not win this game by at least a touchdown. Give me the Bills minus 5.5.
Going Bills minus 5.5 against Cincinnati. Ian Safar, your final individual selection.
Hey, a lot of noise around this team this week. Steelers plus 5.5 at the Ravens. Lamar's still banged up. We got a little Tomlin, Rodgers bounce back. Everyone talking smack. So give me the Steelers in a divisional game plus 5.5 at the Ravens.
Nice. Steelers plus 5.5 against the Baltimore Ravens. Somebody going to end up having to winning the AFC North. We'll see who it is, who wants to take charge and win that division. My final pick, give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers minus 8.5 against the Saints. Now, those games between those two teams usually get chippy, and there's some stuff after the whistle. I'm sure that'll probably happen again. But the Saints are cheeks. Give me the Bucs minus the 8.5 against the New Orleans Saints. We'll see if they can just go ahead and salt away that division there.
Yeah, I looked at that one too, man. That 8.5 scares me a little bit, but they'll probably win by about 17.
I say salt away. Your beloved Carolina Panthers just keep hanging around, man. That's what they do. Panthers are hanging around in there.
I don't know if people have noticed, but Bryce Young might actually be able to play quarterback in the NFL.
Who do they have this week?
Bye.
I'm looking around. They're bye. That's a late bye.
Idle? Yes. Oh, they're idle.
What do we think about Colts Jags? 1.5. Colts minus 1.5.
Yeah. I think I'm going Jags.
I think I'm going Jags too. Colts
are falling back to earth a little bit, and Jones is hurt.
Yeah.
He's playing
3D.
through it.
They said he's some type of 3D cast brace on his leg.
Yeah, they haven't looked as good the last couple of weeks. I'm going Jacksonville.
All right, I'll take the Indy Ben side and go with and Jordan from Franklin and go Colts.
There you go.
We'll get it going.
Give our final thoughts on the Titans. Let's take our final look at conference championship weekend coming up next as well. Robby and Rexrode 102.5 The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Greg on the text line asking about BYU or Texas Tech. I'm going Tech big in that one. I don't think BYU's great. I'm going Tech to destroy them again.
Yeah, they beat them. They beat them 9-7. That'd be the Titans Browns game. They beat them 29-7.
Yeah,
first meeting, and I think Texas Tech's a lot better. And Texas Tech is safe. BYU is. So you could look at the incentive thing here, but I just think I think Texas Tech is one of the teams that I'm really interested to see in the playoff with what they have defensively, what they have up front, and their whole front seven. They are maybe the most talented defensive front, or they're right up there at least with Ohio State. But are they a team that can actually make a run in the playoff? But I think they will beat BYU, and then, of course, then we may have the Notre Dame-Miami situation.
Looking forward to that. I kind of hope that happens. See what the committee does. What if the committee puts in Notre Dame over Miami? What's your reaction going to be?
Well, that right now is – that right now has been obviously consistently what they've done, right?
Yes.
To me, it's like if they flip it and then Miami goes in, first of all, I think you and I are the same mindset. It's like it's close enough that the head-to-head should count. The head-to-head doesn't wipe away everything. Florida shouldn't be in higher ranked than Texas because Florida beat Texas. Florida sucks. But if you're both 10-2, the numbers are pretty close overall. You look at the metrics and everything. Yes, Miami's losses are worse than Notre Dame's losses. They are. And yes, I know the game was a long time ago, but if you're that close, how does it not break even if it doesn't quote unquote break a tie, how does it not nudge the team that won the game ahead?
I'm sorry.
It's hard to justify it.
I've been preaching the drum all year, but there's no preaching the drum. That's a new one. Beating the drum is what I've been doing.
Preach that drum.
I will. But Notre Dame, they don't have very many good wins. They've got a USC win. That's their best one. And other than that, they don't have good wins. So, I guess
they stomp people.
It's not really your fault, but it is what it is. I think in that situation, the head-to-head would have to matter, even if it did happen on August the 31st. But you know what? It's part of your schedule. I understand that we put a lot of emphasis on what happens at the end of the year, but it's still part of your schedule.
Well, and look, with Notre Dame in particular, it is a little bit more their fault because they create their own schedule.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. If you're going to operate this way, sometimes you got to deal with the consequences of it.
People have already pointed out, if you look at Notre Dame's schedule next year, it's so weak. And it's like, this is where, again, now, Texas A&M at Miami, those are obviously challenging games.
Yeah.
USC should be, in some years going to Stanford shouldn't be like a joke, right? So, some things are out of their control in terms of the ups and downs of other teams, but it turns out to not be great. So, Notre Dame people are going to absolutely melt down if this happens, but I think that's the right decision. It's like 2 years ago, everybody melted down about Florida State. It sucks for Florida State. The biggest thing that sucked for Florida State is they lost their quarterback, and they were not the same team that earned their way to where they were. And so I think the committee got it right. I know that's an unpopular opinion, and way more people think they didn't. But I think in this case, if they do this controversial thing, they will have gotten it right again.
Caleb wanting to know, at what point does Jahmyr Gibbs enter the conversation with Barry Sanders in your mind, Joe?
Well, he's a great player.
Crushing it for my fantasy team. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Man. Great fantasy pick. He's a great player, but he's not Barry Sanders. It's just, he's faster, straight up faster player. And the start and stop is, he has a few plays last night, like, geez, making people look silly. And look, we'll see. Longevity is a big part of these things. You have a lot of players who have 2-3 amazing years in this league, especially at that position, and then they kind of fade out. But no, he's not Barry Sanders. I'm sorry. If you watch Barry Sanders play, when Barry Sanders was playing in this league, you know that he's not Barry Sanders.
I don't even think, even if he was, you could bring yourself to do it. That's your boy. I don't think you could do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, Barry Sanders was, for people who remember that time, like it was like you needed to you had to stop and watch every time you touch the ball. It was and again, Gibbs is great, but it's not that. You know, is Gibbs the best running back in the league right now? Because Barry Sanders was clearly the best running back in the league every single year he was in the NFL. There was no argument. No Cowboys fans. There was no argument about your guy playing behind the best offensive line of all time and not getting touched until he was 7 yards downfield. So is Gibbs that? Is he the best running back in the NFL?
I mean, Jonathan Taylor's had a pretty darn good year. I know that I know that it's been less so the last couple of weeks, but in totality, Jonathan Taylor's had a pretty good year, man.
Right.
I'd probably go him.
I guess is that the top two? Is Gibbs that high now?
Gibbs pretty good, man.
Yeah, maybe. But again,
he's pretty good.
Tell me when he's the clear best back in the NFL, and then ask me again.
Yeah,
I'll still say no, but at least then you can ask.
Give me a final score for Titans and Browns coming up on Sunday.
Browns 23, Titans 9.
23-9. Okay.
So
Ian,
I'm taking the under.
Ian, you got a final score?
Give me 6 for the Titans and I don't know, 17 for the Browns, something like that. 20 to 6, maybe something like that.
You're really taking the under.
Yeah, probably.
Give me the Browns 10, Titans nothing.
Oh God.
I'll go 10-0 Browns.
My goodness.
That would hit the under as well. Yes.
Yeah, that would hit. Get ready to watch that one.
Get excited, everybody, for this National Football League event.
I'm not kidding you. I will be legitimately surprised if they score a touchdown on Sunday.
Even if maybe like a strip sack of Shador, gets a free field goal or something.
Maybe offensive touchdown. I will be legitimately surprised.
Yeah, okay.
Let's hope it snows.
I could buy that.
So at least we have some entertainment.
Some aesthetically pleasing football to watch there. That does it for us. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.